Hi, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. Cutting your lawn with scissors is slow and ineffective.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking.
Okay.
Whoa.
Sorry. And a 1 and a 2.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking. We're a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show. Today we're discussing Season 10, Episode 18 called Find Me. And we're just going to have a good time. So, I'm your host, Ben. Oh, classic Negan. I'm joined by
Isaac, the walker.
Isaac on the soundboard there, and
Liam. Me, the person who's speaking right now. Listen to my voice.
Very good.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so we've just finished watching the episode. Generally, what we do here is we'll get into any sort of main discussion points that we want to talk about. Then we'll go through any sort of major plot points chronologically and just give our overall thoughts, review, discussion, take on it. We might do a few random fun segments at the end as well. So spoiler alert for the whole Walking Dead series, because you never know, something might slip out. But spoiler alert. And also make sure you head to turnsounds.com if you'd like to just get in touch with us and let us know what you think, because we definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah.
And B, if you feel so inclined to send us a few dollars and you'd like to support what we do, you can plug in at turnsounds.com and you'll get some bonus content as well that we'll do at the end of the episode. Let's just dive into it. So, overall impressions of the episode. Just love to hear what you guys have to say. Who wants to go first? Dive in if you want. Anyone?
Do you want to start? Okay.
Okay, there we go. Woo-hoo.
I'm going to be a troublemaker this episode.
Go for it.
And if Negan were to look at me, he would say,
"Oh, you really are just some asshole."
because, man, to sum it up in a word,
Yeah.
boring. Oh, man.
Yeah, very fair.
When we're talking about the final episodes of the season, and then like another, I don't know how long, wait until the next season comes out. Like, we want hard-hitting, story moves, character decisions, things that have been building up over the last couple of seasons. Like, and you want to throw a bottle episode at us, like maybe the most bottle episodes I've ever seen on this show.
Yeah. I'll disagree to some extent, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Liam, why don't you let us know what
Look, I'm in the same boat.
Fair.
I wasn't a fan of this one at all, to be honest.
Yeah, had some good bits, like all of them do.
It did, yeah.
But again, I think our standards for these are just
sure,
through the roof.
as they should be, because it's we love the show and we definitely hold it to high standards. So I think that's fair. Definitely. Yeah, lackluster is probably the word that would sum it up best for me. There were some good moments. There was some interesting stuff there, but definitely not one that, I'm super excited to go and rewatch straight away or something like that. It definitely wasn't awful, but it's just, it was okay. It just sort of left you like,
Yeah.
I suppose from what you were saying, Isaac, about, this is... Whoops.
Yep.
There we go. Some of the final episodes of the series and all that side of things and bottle episodes and all that. I do also get where they're coming at with, they've advertised these ones very intentionally as just bonus episodes, which is really what they are. So if you're looking at it from the lens of we could have had nothing at all, but they... were able to do something at least, then if you look at it from that point of view, that makes me feel a bit better about it.
I'll take that, actually. That's good.
Yeah, so because that's the thing, like they wanted to keep going and do straight into season 11, but just with the way things were, they couldn't, with the restrictions on set, they couldn't really go all out and do the big set pieces and stuff, so they had to just strip it back and do some smaller things. So in the sense of, would we rather have this or nothing? Yeah, this is definitely better than getting nothing at all. And
that's fair. Yeah.
There we go. But still, it was still just a bit average, I suppose, which is okay. Okay. So diving into it, I suppose we open up with Daryl and Carol, a bit of their banter, which I thought this was really well done in the sense of the way they were talking to each other, because we've seen like particularly throughout season 10 a bit of them, you know, having to go at each other. There was the whole friendship bracelets thing and stuff like that, and so we know what they're like bouncing off each other. But here, it was kind of there, but just something felt a bit off, and it wasn't that it was badly put together as a scene, but that there was supposed to be some sort of underlying awkwardness, and obviously that comes out right at the end of the episode that, you know, while they used to make sarcastic jokes and stuff like that and have a go at each other, here it was there, but it seemed like there was a little bit more saltiness to it, or Daryl was like being a little bit harsher and stuff like that. So yeah, it was cool. I quite like that. But what did you guys think of just that whole opening sequence? Oh, sorry.
In the same boat, actually. Yeah, in the same boat. That was probably one of the redeeming qualities about this episode for me. I thought that was done really well. You could see the strain between the relationship.
For sure.
But it wasn't super in your face. It was subtle enough to make you feel, like you said, that awkwardness and that tension. You're like, okay, yep, there's still some issues here that they haven't worked out. And the thing that I liked the most about it was you could see that Carol was the one who was trying to instigate, hey,
sure,
we're all good. Things are, let's get back to normal. And Daryl was like,
Yeah.
well, no, I'm actually really pissed off at you still.
Yeah.
I got a real big sense of that, and I liked that. I'm glad that it wasn't just swept under the rug.
And maybe awkward is the right way to put it as well, because they're joking around like at the start. You know, they're riding along the bike. You know, you're not going to talk the whole time, are you?
Yeah.
Well, you're the one talking. No, you're the one talking. And I was like, okay, so it's kind of funny, but then it's undercut by like the intro that's starting, which is always ominous, like the whole time that, you know how the intro starts.
Yeah.
And so with that underneath, it feels confusing. The tones felt confusing for me there.
I will say that I'm always very supportive of any time they like bring the intro in earlier and build it up, because it does make for a really cool transition. But you're right in the sense of tone here. It was a little bit confusing. No, that's a good point. Yeah. But yeah, even like the fish when they're like, what do you call that?
Spearfishing?
No, as far as like picking the bones out and stuff. What is that? Gutting the fish?
Filleting.
There we go.
Or filleting, people say as well.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There we go. So like they're doing that, and there's sort of the joking of, oh, what am I doing it wrong? And she's trying to have a laugh, and he's like, no, it's fine, whatever. But like before, where it would be kind of sarcastic, and they'd have a laugh, like, no, you're fine, whatever, and they're kind of joking. It's like, no, seriously, you're all right. Like, whatever. And he's just, you can tell he's a bit grumpy. So that was cool. I liked that. Just very subtle, and it did the job for me.
Well, right from the start, as soon as she gets on the bike, he's like, I didn't say it could come. Like, well.
Yeah, and you kind of don't know if he's joking or not.
Yeah.
Like, half joking, but half like, nah, get off, leave me alone.
We've all had like tag-alongs that were, not really welcome, but okay, I guess you can come.
Absolutely.
Like, this whole trip, she wasn't even supposed to be there, so.
Yeah. Nah, very good. Hey. So we go into flashback back in time. We're seeing him search along the river for Rick. Was that obvious to you guys? Because they didn't really quite state that until a good like halfway through or later, why he was doing that. Did you guys work that out straight away, or?
I did.
Yeah?
No, not me, no.
No, fair. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because that was definitely on my mind. I was expecting it because they'd sort of put that in the synopsis, I suppose, or that's what we know was going on in this time skip, is that he was looking for Rick along the river. But I was thinking, for someone who's not, reading all the articles and the things they're putting out, was it obvious enough in the episode for it to not be confusing? Like, were you, for the first half hour or so, were you kind of wondering, like, why is he here?
I just thought he was, doing his inner shell Daryl type thing, where he just doesn't want to be around anyone, and so he's just looting up and down the river, gathering, hunting.
Okay.
Just, man versus wild type thing.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice straight away, which is maybe the only time I've ever seen this done in like cinema, which is they've cut to a in the past scene, and it's in like full color, like it's more vibrant, it's more saturated.
Yeah.
And then when it's the present, it cuts back to like an undersaturated present, and it's like, so everything was happier and more vibrant back then.
Interesting.
Like every time you look to the past in this thing, it was somehow more vibrant and happy than the current glum future. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen it done the other way around.
Actually, it has been done in the Walking Dead universe in Fear seasons, or season 4 at
Okay.
least. They took it too far in the sense that the past stuff was all bright and colourful, and then the present stuff was like almost completely stripped of colour. Like you could look at some frames and think it was black and white.
Wow.
And so a lot of people weren't a big fan of that because then the main story looked really bland, and when they finished with the flashbacks, then they kept going with the desaturated color, and it just looks so bland, and it just wasn't nice to look at. So so they've kind of taken a lesson here, I suppose, in that the present day the colors still look really good, but in the past, and this is more of a technical term, but they've just sort of applied a lot to the whole thing of like these autumn colors, which I guess is, it was all set in autumn and stuff anyway. So you've got that, the more yellowy greens and stuff like that, which, like you said, it just separated enough without going, it has to be either black and white or color.
Yeah.
You can kind of do something in the middle. So, yeah, there we go. I mean, there's quite a lot of little time skips along the way. We sort of see young dog and then slightly older dog and stuff like that. But eventually, of course, we meet Leah at the cabin. Impressions of her, Isaac? Do you want to did you have any comments?
My it's pretty much my overarching problem with this whole episode. It's
Sure.
kind of like, so I thought they were setting it up like he met some girl, he like fell in love, and then she died. Oh, like continue the long line of tragic things that have happened to Daryl. But no, okay, so she's disappeared somewhere. So now cue like 8 episodes from now in the new season when this girl rocks up, and I'm gonna have like 3 minutes of, oh, she looks familiar. Oh, wasn't she's from some and then cut back to this episode. Like, just a forgettable character for me. Like, she's going through her monologue of what happened, and I was looking at wasn't even on my wrist, but I was like, I'm sure if I look at my wrist long enough, a watch will materialize. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's fair, and I'll agree with you there because I was trying to get into what the scene was doing because the acting was great and everything, but it was just the sort of thing where you're like, I just don't really care.
We've heard like hundreds of sub stories at this point.
Sure. So it's a bit harsh, but what did you feel, Liam?
Oh, I mean, exactly the same. I mean, we didn't have enough time to form any sort of opinion on this person
or emotional connection.
Exactly, yeah. And all of a sudden we're getting this sob story, and like you say, we've heard a million sob stories on the show. So I don't really relate to you at all yet. I don't know you as a character other than 20 minutes of you throwing fish at people or whatever. Yep, cool. But I actually found overall her, like, okay, so you hear her story and she's having a sook.
Yeah.
This sounds really harsh when I put it that way.
But
she said she's not seen any other people since her son or sister's son.
She
I was
ran away.
Adopted
confused.
son.
Yeah. Why then is she so cautious when Daryl walks in? If she's not dealt with the people who are the worst of the worst, like think of the saviors, think of the governor, she's apparently not dealt with any of them.
what's wrong with the governor?
He shot many people.
Yeah.
But think about it. Like Daryl walks in the door and she ties him up. She's like, "Who are you?" I get it. You haven't seen anyone. You're probably going to be skeptical, but she's not dealt with the scum of the earth.
He is wearing like a biker jacket though, and he's like
all ragged and
I suppose in that sense, like even modern day, if you saw a guy like Daryl and he came and asked you for directions or whatever, he'd be a bit cautious.
You would. However, would you tie that person up and try to interrogate them, or would you just point the 12 gauge at them and say, "Leave me alone"?
Because what if he was a scout, and he brings back more of his buddies, and then there's always trouble?
But she doesn't know that. She hasn't dealt with any of those people.
Yeah,
she hasn't seen anybody. She said.
Oh,
So
like the whole world has like been empty for her, pretty much.
Yeah,
Except,
that's what really threw me. I'm like, okay, well, why are you so? Yeah, it just sort of it conflicted a little bit for me.
Well, so timeline wise though, she has at least for like 4 or 5 years been living in the apocalypse before that thing happened to her son. I'm pretty sure because Dog was like probably a few months old. Dogs grow up pretty quickly, don't they?
Right.
When we
Yeah,
saw
true.
when Daryl
True.
encountered baby Dog, and he said or she said that her son died the day Dog was born. So that still leaves a bit of time. So she could have
Good
even
point.
met the governor himself. You never know.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a
Could
very
have
good
been
point.
from Woodbury. Yeah,
Could have been her sister's husband.
there you go.
Not
Yeah.
really her sister, even.
Governor, the untold story.
Yeah.
Governor and dog.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. There we go. But yeah, actually one other just random note with that was that I did like back in season 6 when they first met Jesus and when he was stealing the stuff from them and he's like, look guys, I'm sorry, but it looks like trouble out there. It's like, well, fair enough. If you saw Rick and Daryl out on the road, you'd probably think these guys are up to no good. Like they don't look like the most trustworthy fellows. Yeah. You know, what else even
Yeah.
happened?
Can I just say that if you've ever had a fish thrown at you, it hurts.
Really? I haven't.
It's solid. And that was a big fish, too.
It was.
Yeah, I'd be grumpy. What'd you do
Yeah.
that for?
Well, he was.
Yeah.
Whiplash or something.
Yeah, so I don't really get that relationship dynamic as well either. Like, leave me alone. No, you leave me alone. You're on my land. No, get off my land.
No.
I love you to bits.
Yeah.
Fish.
Yeah.
The fish was the final straw, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straw that broke the camel's back. Like, wow, no man's ever thrown a fish at me. Like,
This is true.
it's not going to get better than this in the apocalypse.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that sort of sums it up. It was just a bit average, the relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that's the closest we've seen to Daryl actually. Well, it looks like they were actually in a proper relationship for that
Yeah.
10 months or however long it said. So
Yeah.
So there you go.
But even in that
found
time-
love in one way or another.
Yeah, even in that time though, Leah has said that you go down to the river to still look every single day.
Yeah.
Like clearly, even though he's picked up a companion along the way, he's still very much got his mission
Sure.
on the
sure.
river. So
Mm.
there is that.
Yeah. Gotta find Ricky. That was actually cool that he said my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice little thing.
It took me a minute too. I thought, that's not how Mel died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he meant Rick.
Yeah, and that's it, because you don't know what he's talking about at first, and then she asks, how did he die? And then
Yeah.
kind of...
Because I thought he just made up a story and was lying. It was like, I don't want to tell you anything about myself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they never found the body. I was like, you cried on top of the dead body, like when Mel died. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I mean, a few little nice things along the way as well, like when Carol came and checked on him and her hair was sort of like half grown. It was like, yeah, some
That's
nice
pretty
little
cool.
details, I suppose, to see that. But that's about it, really. Yeah, the last talking point I can think of, unless you guys want to jump into anything, is just the big sort of conflict at the end, the real talk they have, which was that was easily a highlight of the episode because
My favorite bit.
yeah. Well, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Well, what we've been saying what I've been saying since day dot, but then
Yeah.
recently since her selfish actions with Alpha and all of that prior to.
yeah,
he's like lets her have it. Pretty much everything that we've said about you
Yeah.
were selfish. These people got hurt because of you. You keep messing up and like, what was the line?
you don't know when to stop.
Yeah, you don't know when to stop, but like, if we're friends don't have this conversation over and over and
Yeah.
over again. Like,
Yeah.
and then to which she says like, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. Which says no, like, look at your actions, look at what you've done. Like,
Brutal.
yeah, like
Yeah.
finally, that's the hard love that she needed, really, the
Yeah.
tough love.
You could have written that script. Would you have done anything differently?
Probably not.
Daryl draws his crossbow.
You know what to do, Carol.
It's gone
Yeah.
too far this time.
Look at the flowers. I can't do a Daryl
Yeah,
voice.
look at the flowers. Oh dear.
Just look at the flowers.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, definitely as far as like loose end with Leah, I could see that being something that maybe gets followed up on in the Daryl Carroll spin-off much later rather than keeping it in Walking Dead. So like that could be something to, just leave for that.
I gotta say, I'm not excited for that.
Yeah, well, not after this one, mate.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. So I believe it's at the end of the month, episode 21 or something like that, is slated to be sort of the next Daryl and Carol episode where they're supposedly going to, really butt heads and sort out the conflict or something like that. So that's what they've, put in the synopsis at least. So yeah, at least we'll get some sort of follow-up in the near future.
What episode, sorry? 21, did you say?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
As in of the next season?
Of this season.
How many episodes are in this season?
So this is episode 18 at the moment.
So we're getting an extra 6, didn't they say? Hey?
Yeah,
16.
yeah.
Okay,
on
so
top
it's
of
the-
6.
Yep.
There's 22 in total then.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Mm.
Cool. Oh, I was gonna say earlier, this episode, unfortunately, doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence for like you were talking about. There's like a Father Gabriel and an Aaron type episode on the way.
Yeah, I think that's next week. Yeah.
Okay, if it's just more of that sort of like, here's what we were doing 5 years ago, and like here's were the things that happened to us. Like, nice, and maybe I just need to look at it with this lens now.
I'm pretty sure this is the only one that's a flashback episode. I'm pretty sure the rest are set like in the future, following on from
Negan?
Negan as well. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, true.
Oh yeah. See, that one will be cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
How could it not be?
No, absolutely. So, I don't think you have to be too worried in that sense of just like, filling in random storylines that we didn't really want to be filled in anyway. I'm pretty sure the Negan... Aaron Gabriel, so many names. That one next week is set, after the Whisperer War and stuff like that. So yeah, from what I've heard about at least, and even from, when we talked to Laura Belzy, she said that was like her favorite episode to work on. So yeah,
The Negan one or the Aaron?
the Gabriel Aaron one. I'm pretty sure.
Dandelion
With the
episode.
dandelion?
Yeah, Dandelion.
Watch it never feature, and she'll be so upset.
So will I.
we'll be all upset.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm optimistic for it, but we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. Hey. Any further thoughts though? You look like you got something to say.
Look, I think we always look at these things like we're fans of the show, right? We want to see the franchise do well, and we're very quick to praise the things that it does well. And
Sure.
I think that's what we try and do first, like
Definitely,
what Marks
yeah.
did it hit. This one, I am sorry to be such a downer
No,
on.
you're allowed to. That's fine.
I think in particular now that we're waiting week by week, and it's it's very exciting for us. It seems a bit of a shame. I think for me in particular, Carol, we know is not my favorite. So the stuff we saw with Daryl, cool.
Yeah.
It was a bit random, him yelling out in the rain. I don't know what that was about.
It was the map got like ripped up, didn't it? He had the map stuck on the wall, and he was crossing off all the places he'd checked.
Yeah.
Because he was checking along the river to find Rick's body, and then the map got destroyed. So now he's got to start all over again. Or I guess he forgot all the places he'd been to.
Yeah. I suppose if I had been directing, I might not have had him scream out into the rain.
Fair
It
enough.
just doesn't seem like it's his character to do something like that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Can I point out with that scene in particular that it was then that he sort of walked off, right?
Yeah.
Into the rain.
Yeah.
I thought that this is going to get really interesting. I actually thought he was going to be contemplating suicide.
Yeah.
Like the way he screamed out, because I was the same. I'm like, this is not like Daryl at all. This is really, really weird. And then he starts walking off. I'm like, no way. He's about to like walk somewhere out into the rain, point the crossbow at his face, and then something's going to happen that'll like interrupt him.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be a pivotal moment, and then it just shifted. Like, okay, well, that was just weird then. It was just
And I
very-
guess that's
ugh.
the moment where, like, in a non-COVID episode, he would go and find a horde and like just go crazy mental and like, or do something nuts. But yeah, you're right. It was a bit like, oh, okay.
Because that would have been more in his, like, to do something like how Michonne did. You remember once she was walking with like a group and then she just whips out her katana and slashes them all up? I reckon that could have been the way to do it instead. He's that frustrated that he just runs out and finds 20 of them and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she even talks about it at one point, in hindsight, saying like that she was sort of almost trying to kill herself at that point, and she'd just, just walk up and be about to let the walker bite her, and then her sword would have a mind of its own, and she'd get rid of the sword and take it down with her bare hands, and so that sort of thing is like she wanted to give up but couldn't let herself, and so there was potential for something there, but I guess not.
Even a fish.
Throw a fish at her.
Slap a fish at all the walkers.
Was it?
What were you?
I mean, that would be hilarious, and I'm all for that. But I think, like, imagine he looks like he's about to give up. You see him pull the crossbow, maybe not necessarily pointed at himself, but all of a sudden he gets slapped with a fish. And it's Leah.
Okay.
And Leah's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Instead of her like, "You look like you're about to get frostbite on your hands. Come on, come warm up."
Yeah.
I think that would have been far more impactful, especially for us as an audience watching Leah's character going, okay, you've literally just brought this guy back from the brink of possibly ending his life. He's that far gone, or he's in that headspace.
Yeah.
I like you a lot more now. You saved Daryl. We all love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have thrown the fish.
Yeah, look, it's just potential for things, hey, but it just sort of didn't quite take too many of them.
Yeah.
There we go.
Some cool shots though.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool shots, some
Yeah,
weird ones when he
yeah.
goes to stomp the head of the zombie like by the lake underneath the boat. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And there's like 3 different takes of him doing the thing over and over again, and it's like this cut into the thunder and lightning scene. And at first I was kind of like, that's kind of cool because the stomps are kind of like thunder rumbles in the sky, sort of, if you think about it. But then I was like, no, actually, that was weird.
So at that point, you probably didn't know what he was doing looking along the river, right?
Right.
And this is one criticism because, I think it should have been maybe a slightly more set up or just slightly more let the audience know what's going on here. Because it's been quite a while since we've seen him at that point where he said, I've been looking for Rick and stuff like that. It was like one line 3 years ago, so you can't expect everyone to remember what he was doing in that time skip. So just a little bit more setup would have been nice, but I suppose in hindsight, knowing that like when he was stomping that walker, he was flipping the boat, and there was a walker kind of looked a little bit like Rick from behind, but he turned it over and it wasn't, and so it's showing, in the map and stuff that he's just. He's got this one mission and it's just not working. He's lost Rick, and does that make it a little bit better?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, frustration and
But again, just maybe missed a few marks there. That's all right. Like you said, we try to keep it positive. But while we're on this train of negativity, one thing to think about at least, and we can come back to it in a minute, is what would be some least favorite episodes from the whole show for you, because this would definitely make the list, at least for me.
Yep.
Which is a shame, but it's got to happen once in a while.
True.
yeah. I'm liking the jump to digital. I think it's working.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks good. Any standouts in particular?
We see a shot of him walking along. There's that 3-pronged thing sticking out of the house that we...
Yeah.
I don't know why that was a focal point, but we just knew that meant it was the house or something. Just a really nice focal change from him to the prongs, and it's, you see spider webs on it, the detailing on it's much nicer, and as he walks up to it, it's nice.
Oh, that's cool. Definitely. Yeah. Well, any last thoughts, Liam, or anything before we wrap it up for the review?
Gargiulo.
Return of Gargiulo. It can only get better from here.
Yeah. That works.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, we can have that perspective of this wasn't the greatest episode, or we can go, hey, it was either that or no Walking Dead for an extended period of time. So
Yeah.
Because what did this set up? You have to kind of ask ourselves as well, if anything. Or what did it give closure to or reveal?
I don't know. I suppose I definitely am a fan of the idea. Like, if you say, okay, we've got to do a pile of bonus episodes, just bottle episodes with only a couple of characters in them, then I would say, yeah, fill in a bit of what was happening in that 6-year time skip, because there's a whole thing there and anything could have happened in that time. So I like that idea, but yeah, I suppose it just could have been done a bit better, maybe.
You know what? I will have one more point, actually, now that it's literally just come to me now. There was a lot of chemistry between Daryl and Connie, right?
Yeah.
Seems so,
However,
yeah.
Daryl was always the one to shut it down, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken. And this sort of puts that into a bit of perspective,
at least to
perhaps.
not take action. And
Exactly, yeah.
There was
And
even the point where Connie sort of said, like, family, and then you and me, we're family. And he, like, could have taken it to the next level, but then he kind of just, like, walked off.
Yeah.
Well, every time that, after they would talk and Kelly would look at them and she would kind of like say, like, shut up to Kelly or something.
Same with Carol, too. I think Carol pointed it out at one point. And
Oh, he
Daryl
did
sort of-
blatantly shut it
Yeah.
down there. Yeah, absolutely.
So this sort of makes that seem a little bit more justified. Because at the time, I'm like, stop being a goose.
Yeah.
You're both good eggs. Let it happen. But yeah, I guess this sort of goes, okay, well, yeah, there was a love interest and he was quite burnt. Plus, it's open-ended, so
Sure.
he still has that perspective of she may still be alive out there somewhere.
Yeah, although he left, like, the map of the river, but he didn't put Alexandria or anything.
One job, buddy.
He's got to go
One
back
job.
and put a new note, let him know.
Or like when he gets together with Connie and then one day Leah
Oh.
shows up. It's awkward.
I'm
Yikes.
terrified of that happening. I
Yeah.
hope I do not want a love triangle in The Walking Dead. I do not want
Well, there's already a few, but not with Daryl.
it's unnecessary.
Yeah. It's just not who he is.
Exactly, yeah.
Even that, I'm glad that we didn't really get to see anything passionate between the two of them.
Yeah.
Like, even like a hug or even a kiss or something. It's just not who he is. Like,
Fair.
yeah.
There we go. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up the review there, but we'll dive into just a bit of random discussion. Where are we at for time? Oh yeah, we'll chat a little bit now, and then we'll go into some exclusive plugged-in stuff.
Yeah.
Lucy.
Yeah. So why not? Have you guys got any thoughts on least favorite episodes from the series?
This one.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm assuming this would be on the list for all of us. huh?
I'd have to think pretty hard about that, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is off the top of your head. We can maybe come back to it at some point with a bit more thought. But yeah, go for it.
Well, I can tell you why it is my least favorite.
Okay.
Purely because this is the first episode I've ever thought, like, this is dragging out. Is this an extended episode? I really hope it's not an extended episode. I want it to finish.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never had that
With
mind
this
frame at
episode
all.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So, like, no, hands down, unfortunately, this episode takes the cake as my least favorite.
Okay. There we go.
It's true. I do smile.
Yeah.
Yet I smile.
Through it all.
I like it. There's one that pops to mind, which will probably be Isaac's favorite episode, which is the introduction to Woodbury. Yeah. But yeah, it's a whole episode just dedicated to Andrea arriving and the governor storyline and all that. Which, look, I probably wouldn't say that's my least favorite episode, but it's one of those ones that I just don't really feel like watching whenever I do a rewatch of the series.
Oh.
Yeah, just because, well, more so because I get really wrapped up in the main story of what's happening at the prison, and then it's like, oh, yeah, okay. So that would probably be one that comes to mind. I know there's a couple more. Any for you, Isaac, that you can think of?
I wasn't a fan of Andrea as a character, mostly anyway. So I think
Sure.
any episodes that focused on her was just a bit.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to think though, like,
Yeah.
because I think there were one or two with the was there a Whisperer episode? Yeah, actually. So
Yeah.
yeah, that backstory between Alpha and Beta, how they met. Not like the worst, but I remember kind of going, all right, now back to the real action, please. Like,
Sure, okay. And you really quite liked that one, didn't you, Liam? From
I mean,
memory.
yeah, I enjoyed it, but I'm pretty biased.
Okay.
I love the Whisperers.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Sucker
was
for
interesting.
bad guy groups, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, I like that episode. I can see where you're coming from. It was a little bit boring in the sense of I just want to know what's going on present time. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing how that sort of dynamic came to be between the two.
Yeah, okay, cool. Just two more I can think of. Well, yeah, that one maybe again is one I like generally skip upon rewatch. Like as far as the quality of the episode, I think it's a really good episode. Like if you had to do Unfocused on the Whisperers, that is like a really good way to do it. But it's just like, did you really have to do a whole Whisperer episode? I suppose. And there would also be the Easy Street one. Of Daryl in the cell.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. You know.
Just on principle, or?
No, not on principle. Just like, I don't know. I just never feel motivated to watch Daryl sitting around in a cell being treated badly.
Fair enough.
And I don't find the sanctuary stuff that interesting myself. So, yeah, there we go. And there was also the one second last episode of season 8. Which I think we all watched together from memory.
Which is
And
that
it
one?
was, you've got like Eugene at the bullet making factory, and it's all focused on the saviors before the big showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it was just like, yeah.
That's right, actually. That reminds me of the All Out War episode right at the end. Like,
Right.
if Anticlimactic had a younger, uglier brother, it was that episode.
Sure.
For all, I mean, it was fine, but for
Yeah.
all that it was building itself up to be, it ultimately shot itself with bad ammunition.
Whoa.
There you go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That one, I will say, upon rewatch is much better because you know what to expect and not to expect a big battle. But yeah, again, we watched that all together, and I remember Liam just going, "Well, that kind of sucked." Like, this is the end credits were rolling.
I was filthy about it.
Yeah. Because it was, again, it's called All Up War, and it was this big build up, and there'd be kind of like there were a few battles in the second half of the season, but it was this big build up, and then they were just standing around in the field, and all the saviors shot themselves by accident. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, there we go. We'll soak in the negativity a bit while we're here, but usually we're much more positive. So, but yeah, I think we're gonna end the episode there for you normal folk, and we'll keep chatting for a little bit in our plugged in segment. We got some stuff to talk about there. So make sure you head to 10sounds.com if you'd like to hear more, and also let us know if there's any other exclusive content that you'd like to hear or to get or anything like that, and we'll definitely try and accommodate for you. So yeah, there we go.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for listening. I've been Ben.
Still Liam.
I'm still Isaac.
See you later.